Greetings and welcome back to SmartWatch Ticks. It's an exciting day. We are about to unbox something new. It's called the Smart Bracelet, and its focus is on health, heart rate, and blood pressure. Now, before we get into this, you may remember late last year, we showed you one of the first on the market of a smart bracelet that has the ability to not only do time and distance and all those other measurements, but heart rate, blood oxygen, and blood pressure measurement, all with the diodes on the back of it. It's called the CK11, and we got this from BangGood. Awesome company that's really providing us these health-focused watches and bands. Well, the CK11 was the first, and now this new smart bracelet that we just brought in, also from BangGood, it's called an OLED, blood pressure, heart rate, oximeter, monitor, sports health watch, blah, blah, blah. It is exactly the same technology, the same circuitry, the same software, the same sensor capability that we saw in the CK11 in a different format. So what does it look like? Let's bring it over. But remember, BangGood's our sponsor. We have links in the bottom of the show notes for both this product and the CK11. All right, let's unbox this puppy. When you look inside, you see that it's a health tracker that does all these good things, compatible with both the Apple and Android. And, well, let's see. Looks fun. It's not quite as, how would you say, formal as the CK11. This is much more of a sports-looking band. The kind that you just like put on and go jogging with, right? It's got a silicone band, got the sensors in the back, a charging thing with a little charger unit, no doubt. Whoa, this is different. Whoa, okay. Not our typical cradle by any means. It looks like it'll definitely hold on well. Wow. Ow, 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 ow. Ooh, that does hurt. Ow. Okay. Enough playing. How does this work? We hook this probably on like this. Oh, look at that. It's trying to measure some stuff already. There, it must fit like that. Connect somehow. I've got the wires in the way. I know, I need to show you all this, right? Tightly coiled. Okay. Come in here like that. There. And it just clamps on. As long as those three connectors are making contact, we have a solid charging connection that hooks into the USB port. All right. Enough of the logistics. And do we have a manual in here? Yes, we do. We have a manual. Looks like it's in Chinese and in English. All right, before we get into it, quick look at the manual then. System hardware requirements. It's a one-button thing, it looks like. So it's simple to operate. Just like the CK11, it had its one button. There's some barcodes for you to scan. When you do, you're going to find it's going to bring up that WearFit app. And that's really the whole story behind all of this. The technology that's inside of the bands themselves accumulates the data. But it's really what do you do with that data that's important. And that's where the app comes in. Okay, this side's all Chinese. So the band itself looks like this. And it's got that flip to turn on thing going, which is awesome. There's a button down at the bottom, kind of hidden right there. I'm going to go ahead and slip it on. Let's see. You do this by sliding it through here, I think. Let's see. Tricky to do with one hand on camera. Okay, like that. And then I come around and I find a hole and I push it in it. There. There, and it's on. Easy as that. So you've got your time. You tap it once, and it'll show you the steps you've walked. Again, the miles you've walked based on the stuff you've put in and the calories you've burned. Then you get to the reading stuff. Now, it's going to be monitoring my heartbeat by doing the little diode thing that we're used to on all of these different bands and watches. And it's fairly quick. It's come up with a heart rate. It's going to do that a little bit until it gets an average. So it's not just taking the first piece of information. It's actually taking a little while to sense what the actual heart rate is. And I'm calming myself down and lowering my heart rate. Yes. All right. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's dropping quite a bit. All right, there's the heart rate. Then when we tap the button again, we come over here and it's going to calculate blood oxygen. That's the amount of oxygen in your blood. And for those of you trainers out there and sports folks that really like to work out hard, you know that you're going to want to get your heart rate, stay within a certain blood oxygen level, I guess, so that you don't go anaerobic. So it's saying that I'm 97, 98% oxygenated right now, which makes sense. I'm not really exercising much. Bounces around a little bit as it iterates to its solution. And then the third one is where we actually do the systolic and diastolic blood pressure. Now, blood pressure is a different beast altogether. And normally you have to wear the cuff on your arm, and blow it up. And then with a stethoscope or some sort of a sound sensor, it listens for the beats of your heart. This is not doing it that way. It's using the actual heart wave that's being picked up by the blood oozing through the capillaries under your skin, that normally it just picks up the pulse. Okay, it's just looking for the boom, boom, boom of your pulse. But the software is so sophisticated now that it can actually detect and determine and report your systolic and diastolic heart rate readings on a live measuring basis. And according to the information in the app and the booklet and what my experience has been, there, it just vibrated, it locked that in. It's accurate. My experience is it's accurate. It's definitely, when you take it with the stethoscope, you can take it 4 times and get 5 different results. This thing seems to be really close in correlation. Anyway, that's what the watch or band does as itself in its own measurements. Now, but the real art of this is how it interfaces with that app that we talked about. And to do that, rather than go through and review the whole app again, we really spent some time with that when I did the review on the CK11. So I'm going to paste that section of this review into this review right now so that you can see how the app works. Just remember, anything I'm doing on this device would be identical on that device. Now I'm going to launch WearFit. We're going to get into this thing, and here's my data. Now it's loading, and you see it's bringing in all of the data from since yesterday through today, and we're going to go through all this in a minute, but I wanted to see you doing the automatic sync that you don't even have to have the phone with you to accumulate that data. This is today. If I go to the weekly display, you can see what my walking was like this week. And all of the information here averaged over the week, and here you go over the month. So obviously I just got it. I played with it a lot when I first got it, and this is my data. So I'm averaging 723. This is embarrassing. It's not me, really. A friend of mine wore this watch, and he only walked 723 steps a day. Well, this is averaged over the month, so we're getting 0 for all of these. So give me a month, and I'll pump that number up. Give me a week, and I'll pump that number up. Give me the rest of today, and I'll get out and get exercise, I promise. That's the step gauge. This is your sleep monitoring, of which I don't wear it to bed, and I haven't, and so this is erroneous data. I have not worn it, and it's giving me these erroneous readings. So I just have to ignore it on the daily, or the weekly, or the monthly. How it's registering that, I presume, is from that 6-axis sensor and not from the laser diodes, typical to the sleep monitoring
apps that you find in most of the traditional watches. But it has that feature if you want to wear this all the time. Now we get into the juicy stuff. Here's the heart rates, okay? The last heart rate we did, 95, taken. It says, oh, you know what? We need to synchronize this. Let's go back here and load up the latest measurements. Because I think the latest measurement was, what, at 11 o'clock? And didn't we just do one just now? We did one at 11:39, came up with a 99. See, I just synchronized it. There you go. Here's the hourlies. I was wearing it this morning, 95. I was much more relaxed at 10, 9. And then that's when I put the watch on. Here at 2200, it got an erroneous 103. And here we go. This one's a real one at 2039. I wore it. And at 2000, 1900, these are the hourly ones. This is an actual measurement. So all this stuff is in here. Now, yesterday, here we go. You see this little range. I don't always sit here and play with watches. Once in a while I drive around, and I found out by accident that my battery was draining in the car because the alternator's not working. And anyway, long story short, I had to go and walk to the shop where I could buy a new battery, and I had to carry that battery back. And I figured, I got the watch on, I'm going to check it out. So look at this. Here's my normal heart rates, and then I started this stuff, 1230, 1233. Look at the beats per minute. So I'm getting, real data. It's not one of those bogus things where it's always giving you a certain number around 80 or 90. It's giving me legitimate numbers when I was doing some light exercise here in this range yesterday in pulse. Let's monitor that as we go to the other things. In addition to, did I finish the display here? That's that. And then you've got your daily. And yesterday, can I go back to yesterday? I don't think so, but I can go to the weekly. This is today, that's yesterday, Monday, Sunday. So this is the average, maximum, and minimum heart rate over those days for the week. This is the weekly average. This is the daily. This is for the month. And of course, it's going to be really, I need to have more data to get the true accuracy over time. And then there's the individual one, of course, like that. I can take a single measurement or go into real-time measurement right here as well. That's another feature. Okay, let's do the blood pressure next. This is the amazing one that you don't find on watches, and this was the last one that we did at 11:41 right now, 124/85. At 11 is 125/87. I haven't changed much. Earlier in the day, I wasn't as active. I'm talking and doing these videos, getting set up for it, so, it was a little lower. 9 o'clock it was this, and so forth. Now, we go back to yesterday. Now, see these all the same? This is when the watch was off my arm. That should be 0. It shouldn't know, somehow it should know that it's not on skin. If it doesn't pick anything up, it shouldn't be giving me anything. But it is, and that's a little glitch that needs to be fixed. But here we go back to yesterday, and these are the readings I'm getting. And we get back into when I was out there pumping iron, so to speak, if you want to call a lead acid battery iron. And my blood pressure readings were also going up along with my pulse rate. So I can see what my blood pressure looks like under stress. Interesting, huh? I got daily. You'd see the two different graphs. It's a dark red and a light red. Weekly. There's my weekly systolic and diastolic. Averaging 131/86, it says, with a high of 164/100 and a low of 105/71. And it says borderline hypertension. At this situation, they want you always to be taking your blood pressure relaxed. When they tell you what's your baseline blood pressure, they want you relaxed. And if you are, then you're going to have good relaxed results. And if your relaxed results are hypertensive or even higher, then you got issues. Go see your doctor. Don't self-medicate. Don't mess with your meds to try to make it change. talk to your doctor, okay? This is just for your information, and hopefully your doctors, if they want to see this kind of long-term, real-time, you can do real-time blood pressure measurement as well as take a finger measurement. Now, I mean, for sure, you're in the app, as long as it's tethered, you press that button. If this is on your arm, it doesn't even turn on the display. Oh, by the way, you see it does turn on if you just tilt your arm to see the time. But it doesn't turn on the display to do the readings. It does it completely in the background, invisible to you. It does that every hour, and it does it single. And if you turn it on real time, it will do it continuously, that you'll be able to monitor on here. Same thing for your blood oxygen level. And here you go. There's your results. They're usually high, like 97 to 99, unless you're under stress. And then I'm up to 88. That's at 16:15. Where are we? Okay. Well, I'm running 88 was kind of low right there. That's at 3 in the morning. That's at midnight. I'm guessing this is erroneous data coming in as well. So the blood oxygen level is tracking pretty good. Here's the zone yesterday, I think, when I was working out, and you see it's dropped down a little bit. And again, same thing. You can get your daily blood oxygen over those days, your weekly, and your monthly. All right. Blood oxygen, and then the final thing they give you is your fatigue rating. Now, I don't know how they come up with this, but I'm in good condition overall, basically. Had mild fatigue at these times when I didn't have the watch on. I guess I was stressing that I wasn't wearing the watch, right? And that goes back into good condition, mild fatigue. Yeah, got to play with that to get a better feel for it. But again, you can get your daily, your weekly, and your monthly averages on that as well. And it says mild fatigue is my long-term average so far. Okay. Wow, we covered a lot here. That's all of this kind of stuff. Now, to tell you and show you how this is even more accurate than we normally would figure, you can go in here into something like settings. And here's where you can empty the data from the watch. You can put in your personal information, your gender, your age, your height in centimeters or feet, your weight, whether you wear it on the left hand or right hand, how you want your data accumulated. This is where you set your baseline reference value for your systolic and diastolic. So what they want you to do is something like your cuff, or with the help of your doctor or nurse, to get your best accurate blood pressure reading you can at the moment and enter that in here. Are you typically, or at that time, 125 over 80? Great. Put that in, put this on, do your reading, and it calibrates to that baseline what the measurement is. You see, we're all different. And so this is going to kind of calculate the deviation from your normal to report whether you're high or low compared with what the baseline is when you set it up. That's the way to do it, because we're all different. You need to establish what your baseline is. You can put in your health goals, how many steps you want to walk. Again, this is only doing steps. It's not doing fancy workout kind of stuff. You need a real sports fitness watch for that. This is more for getting blood-related data and light step exercise information. That's the user information. I think we covered all of it. Yeah, okay. And the save button up there saves it to the device. Your Health Weekly shows your last week step gauge and some healthy tips, your sleep last week, your heart rate last week, your blood pressure last week. You see, I'm starting to accumulate some data, blood oxygen, and then the fatigue level, and healthy tips about each of those. So as you wear this, it gets more and more data. Shake to photograph is kind of interesting. It puts the camera mode on your phone, and from your watch, I can point up here, shake the watch, I'm shaking it. You don't see that. And there, you heard the click? It just took that picture. So it automatically put this in that camera mode. So if you want to take a selfie, have somebody else hold the phone and point it at you or prop it up, you have that ability to take that picture or take the picture directly from the button, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Or shake it and it'll take the picture. Better if I have it actually on the arm, I guess. Anyway, well, you get the drift. It works. That's the shake to photograph. Run. Here is fun. This is where, okay, it's not getting my GPS. If I have GPS set up, it's going to put the map on the screen. And I'm going to be able to say start, and it'll begin in go with doing my run. And it's tracking all that information now on the device. Long press to pause. And you can either complete it or keep going. And it's showing you your kilometers, it's tracking your steps, and it's timing it. So you've got all that information. Okay? Now I guess it's bringing in the GPS data. Anyway, that's something that's pretty unique to this. It's showing the GPS stuff right here. It's using Scott Map, or you can use Google Maps as the background. The device management brings you into here, which is where you can really set this device up the way you want. The connection management is just basically where you tether the device to the app, and you can just link it and you're there. You can find the bracelet, pretty much like finding the watch. It's now vibrating and lights up with the time. Not going to be easy to find by making noise because all it does is vibrate. You have intelligent reminders that you can have the watch vibrate when you get a call or SMS or any of these things. Pod o'clock. That's the first time I've heard an alarm clock called a pod o'clock. But this is where you can set an alarm and it will ring once or every day or whatever you want, and it vibrates, and it's just a basic alarm. The sedentary reminders, where you can set a recurring sedentary reminder and set the start and end times for that. Again, it just vibrates. The apps that you can turn on that will vibrate when you get a notification. You don't read it on your watch, but it tells you that something came in, so you can pull out your phone. Okay? And do not disturb times, which is nice that you can set it so your watch isn't going off while you're sleeping. All that is in the intelligent remind. You can set it to raise your arm to see the time. And here's where you set it to take measurements on every hour on the hour. All right? Now, here's some more stuff I really love about it. Okay, that was device management. I get to that. Okay, let's do the settings and then we'll finish up. You saw the personal information area. We went over that. That's automatically right there as well. And the settings of the health goals we did. Empty the data is where you can clear it all out and start over again. It has WeChat support, and look at this, Google Fit support. You can go in here and transfer the data, I presume, to WeChat. I don't use that, or to Google Fit. I'm trying to use that. And that's nice. Usually the data is pretty much locked to the app that you've got and the device that you've got. But if you can move this data to Google Fit, that is sweet. I'm not sure how much, if it's just the step information, if it includes heart rate, or you get everything. But that's a good start. I'd love to see an email thing so that you could email your entire history, for example, out. That would be very, very valuable. But again, it's brand new, so there may be incremental upgrades or brand new watches coming out. The About tells you that we are currently using that version. And then there's help, and you can check the version on the device itself, and it says it's the latest version. So it is able to update the firmware on the fly if anything comes in. Now I'm going to strap it back on and show you one more thing that I love about this. Remember I was telling you, if you're out and about and you want to take your measurements and you know how it works, you just press the button twice, first to turn it on and see the time, and then once more, and you'll see your heart rate. And you just wait until you feel the vibration. You press it once more, you get the blood oxygen, and then you press it once more after the vibration, and you get your blood pressure. Well, there's an easier way if you have your phone with you. Just pick the phone up out of your pocket, go into measure, and see this thing says one key measure. I tap that, and as long as they're synced together, and the watch turned on because I turned my arm, but it does not turn the light on the watch. It's just sitting there on its own. But the diodes are working. You see the green diodes, they're working. And this is another cool thing. This really works. I can be walking and I don't have to hold perfectly still like you do in the doctor's office and with most other devices. You can actually be moving around with this thing, and it's going through, and simultaneously it's calculating the heart rate, the blood pressure, the blood oxygen, and your fatigue rate. And when the little circle stops going around, boom, it flashes the results up here for you. It adds them to each of the categories that were here. It places them in those charts, so you have it as part of your daily, weekly, and yearly records, and it was done just by pushing one button. That is sweet. So for a device that, in addition to measuring your blood pressure, which is really unique, and accurately getting your heart rate averaged over several readings, and now giving you blood oxygen and telling you your overall fatigue condition on a specific date and time.
So as you can see, the real magic happens in the app. This is more or less a sensor to collect information, but the detail is in the app itself. Now, the app applied to this watch band, and again, this is the review of this one. They are identical. So it's really up to you which style you like. If you like this kind of a watch or band and you're comfortable with its look and feel, then you're going to be interested in the CK11. All right? If you like this one, then it's the new OLED blood pressure heart rate device that they talk about. Both of them are available from BangGood, who's brought them to us today. You'll see links in the show notes down below that you can go and pick them up. Check it out. Look for a coupon if we've got one with a discount price. And either one, I think you're going to be happy with it, because you get all your step data like you have before. You get your heart rate like you have before. But now, for the first time, you're getting your blood pressure and your blood oxygen. All right? You've been watching SmartWatch Ticks. Thank you for your subscription, and we'll see you again soon.